We have
Okay,
to do
I'm up
the
for it. Who
scaffolding
wants to take it
energy.
away? Yeah, whoever wants to
Um,
start.
I guess that would be me because
All right.
nobody else wants to take the reins on this one.
No, no.
Oh, disabled screen sharing.
Oh, I need to. That's me. That's me. I'm sorry. There we go. Should be ready
All
now.
right.
So what's the high level before we go too far into it? What's like the TLDR? What's like the one liner?
Okay, so token legacy is basically a way for you to distribute your tokens, or rather create an on-chain wheel for yourself in the event that you no longer have access to your wallet, or which is the other side of it, the sad reality that someone passes. You need to have a way for the people around you and the family to be able to take the balance from your wallet and transfer it to themselves, and you can distribute it based on percentages. So that's
Cool.
the one liner.
Cool.
All right.
All
I
right.
can share now.
Yes, please. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Let's see if it goes.
Okay.
Sorry,
There's
you
a
could share
lot
that
of
whole time. I
screens.
should have said that earlier. Like
No,
I,
it's
I
okay.
I switched it as soon as you said that we needed to.
Okay. All right.
There we
I'm
go.
sharing from my
Yep.
iPad. Hopefully you can see something.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. Awesome. So basically what we're trying to show off is this project, right? You can import a token, and I want to kind of show the high level of like the UI first, and then we can go into taking a look at the code and then running all the way through to production type of deployment stuff.
Awesome.
So let's try to import. This thing is running on local, and I deployed a bunch of tokens on my local to be able to show up. So you can paste the token address, and the allowance is not there. You increase an allowance, sign it with your wallet, and once that completes and the subgraph indexes it, it shows up. It's running a lot faster because it's on my local.
Is
And
that
then I can
frame?
add.
What was that wallet?
Yes, that's frame.
Frame?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then let's try to distribute some of my um, link token. So I can input, say, 20% here, or I can drag it around here and say 25%.
What's
For
that
some reason,
avatar?
your avatar is not showing up. For some reason, your avatar is not showing up.
Just
Everybody
mine.
else's avatar
Okay.
shows up.
Everybody else's ENS avatar works, but not mine. Okay.
Yeah,
Try
so
try
that's interesting.
ATG.E and see what happens. What happens if
Okay,
you
let's see.
yeah.
ATG.
Yep. Yep.
Study.
Still, same thing, huh? Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Um, I wonder if it has to do with like the wrapped ENS names and unwrapped. They
Could
deploy the
be.
new wrapper or something like that.
Yeah.
Because if I type even Vitalik, it's give it a second, that kind of pops up, and all right,
I
let's
don't
go with
know.
this one. No tokens for you, Austin.
True, true,
All right,
true.
so let's save that, sign, and once that completes, it shows up here. I can add another person like Emu. It completes, let's say 30%, save that. I know another person who has an ENS here would be layer connect.eth. And let's say I want to give him 50%. Why not? He's the designer. He did an amazing job. And okay, so everything happens and works flawlessly. You go back to the home page, you see all the previous allocations. I had WETH, and then I allocated this much. I have USDT, I allocated this much, and I have Chainlink, and I allocated this much. So just running back to the code, a lot of things that went in Scaffolding 2 that we tried to do. I know there's a PR for subgraph on Scaffolding 2. We had to implement, the subgraph and the prepares using Mustache to be able to carry along the config after deployment. You have to run, like a prepare statement, which I will kind of show later. You run the prepare script, which takes this data and then plugs it into the subgraph so you can easily deploy your subgraph YAML file. Another thing I noticed was that the use scaffold write hook doesn't really support like proxy contracts. So you want to be able, instead of the address that the contract was deployed with, you want to be able to pass in an address. So we did add something here for that where you can pass in like a custom address much later. And then we typed it as well. So, it's a lot more easier. So like these are like some kind of like improvement ideas, like when you tinker with things and you kind of say, okay, this is not here because we're trying to build a production level stuff. But Scaffolding has been amazing with the, address input and the address UI. It's been an amazing, honestly, it's helped make our work a lot easier on this end. All right, so let me see if I can try to run a deployment. First, we deploy our smart contracts, and let me see if I can buff that up a little bit so it's good for the cameras.
And those are mostly
Um,
fake tokens, right?
yes, deploying just tokens on my local. For some reason, the subgraph doesn't work with forked chains on localhost, so that kind of sucks. And then we go into the subgraph part. We can prepare our scripts, run our code gen and build at the same time. And then once that completes, we create a local subgraph and deploy local, type in the version
And is there a
name.
Docker container running somewhere with the subgraph
Yes, there's
stuff?
a Docker
Okay,
container running. It's on my other screen, but it's like right
there we go.
here. It's
Cool.
like, subgraph here. And if you want to check the logs as things kind of move along, the subgraph, everything that's happening is here. So that's completed. We already have our UI running. So we go back to that, go to our token legacy UI. It tells us welcome. My address is connected. For some reason, it's not showing my ENS name. That's interesting. Let's see if we can refresh. No, okay. All right. And then I built like this small module here for where we can just grab from the faucet. Because I realized that when you're building a production app, most of the times you redo the nav. So you take away everything else that's usually here for the most part. So I wanted to make it like a little bit modular. So I put in the grabbing the gas from the
And is that stuff
um,
down in the middle? Is that there in production? Like
this.
you will have that stuff or you won't have
No,
that
this
stuff?
this
Okay.
goes away in production.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Just
if
double
chain
checking.
ID is equal to hard, it
Okay.
takes it away. So I'll deploy a new wheel, sign that in my wallet, and once that completes, it automatically sets the unlock date to 7 days. So if I want to change that, I click on this. It takes me to the page where I can select a new date. Let's say I want to unlock it on Saturday, the 2nd of September. I apply, save date shows up here. That shows up. And when I go back to here, it should be able to reflect in a bit. I don't know why that didn't happen. Okay, there you go. It reflects, so it unlocks in a day. I go back into this and I don't have any tokens yet. This is where all the tokens that I've deployed, all the fake tokens I've deployed comes into play. So I think this should be with import. I type in the address, it detects it's a token, it pops up and asks me to increase my allowance. So without your allowance, of course, you can't interact with the smart contract with another person's token balance. So I have to increase the allowance. It's unlimited worth since I want everything in my um in
What happens if you
my
accidentally like close that? How do you nag them to like increase the allowance?
so
Like
it
if they
doesn't
close
it
that.
yeah, okay, so let's try
We can try it
uh
next time when you add the next token. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'm about to add in another token actually. So let's try to import another
And then just
token
like close
and
that. Can you
increase
close
wallet
that?
and then decline this. Of course, it
Yeah.
doesn't. We don't have anything in the UI right now that actually tells you
Okay.
like, okay,
And declining the box. Like what if you X out of that box?
so
Does it
if you
let you?
close this, it still doesn't show you any of the token.
Okay,
None of
it's
the
part
tokens
of the
appear.
like adding token process. Either the token gets
Exactly.
added and approved or nothing happens. Okay, got it.
Exactly. So we increase the allowance on this. Finally, we get to accept it, and that works through. We can add a beneficiary. We can add, let me say, layer connect.eth. Wait for a second. His avatar updates. I make sure that's him. His address, his ENS, his avatar. Let's say I want to give him 20%. Save that. Fine, and that happens on chain. So wait for a bit, and that goes, and it tells you how much of my current balance there is. and how much they'll be getting if this unlocks today. So it would they would get like 300 USDT and 20% of my token allocation. I can add you right here, and then say, let's say 50%, sure. Save and sign, and that happens. So it updates automatically how much allocated, how much left, how many people is been allocated to, and the chart as well.
Nice.
So
Good UI.
yeah, if there's another allocation, another token that I've already increased the allocation before, which is the WETH that I was working with before, I can add somebody here and say take that ETH. Let's say we want to give him 35% and save that and sign it. And yeah, so the withdrawal aspect of it is actually done as well. Let me see if I can get another UI here that we can use to do the withdrawal. Oh, but it can't happen because I set the unlock period to 2 days. Let me see. It's supposed to
It's
show
nice that you can
me.
share each one by just sharing the address too. How you have the address in the, is that
Yeah, and
each will has its own address? Is that how it works?
yes, that's
Okay.
correct. So it basically uses the factory implementation pattern. So once you this wallet connect stuff just keeps showing up, but I have no idea why that is there. Um,
Pedro.
so okay, let me see if I can assign this beneficiary something, and it doesn't have an ENS name, so you know, uh, let's do 15% of this. Save that. Sign. Okay, and let's do a hard refresh here. Should be able to show me that, I'm allocated this much and it's yellow because it's not there yet. I'm allocated. I have there's an allowance that's already specified, but I do not like it's not unlocked yet. So after it unlocks, this turns green. I'm able to go in here and withdraw. Right now, it tells you withdrawals are not available yet. So we've kind of focused a little bit more on the user experience part of it to try to improve this and make it like so easy that anybody can look at it and understand, all right, this is what this does and this is the concept behind it. So I wish I could activate withdrawals
There's
now, but
probably a way to hard hat like forward, fast forward or something like that,
oh,
but I think you have to
I
do
didn't
it
know
from a
about that.
script. You have to like grab
Okay.
the network time helpers and write a script that does like helpers.time.increase, I think. So I think it's, unless you have it wired up, I think it's probably not worth digging into. But next time you could fast forward.
Hopefully we can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so that is the detail around it. And it's been a long time that we've talked about this, and I just wanted to share that and, let you know, get some input as well. And hopefully get this audited a little bit by, some people in the build guild because the contract actually is pretty simple, but the UI on the side, on this side is kind of like, that's what gets complex. So it has like a factory here and it has an implementation and it does all the register proof, and I mean the contract is probably not as interesting, but it registers the withdrawal and the rest of it, and who has withdrawn, who hasn't withdrawn, and the rest of it. So yeah.
Awesome. So I think first of all, send me the link to the repo so I can put it
Mhm.
along with the recording, however we share it. So if we
Okay.
do have folks that can audit, they could like come look at the contract.
Okay.
We can send that to a couple folks in the build guild. I think you and I are both in channels that are like, Solidity, eyes on Solidity kind of thing. So we could paste it in
Yeah.
there. The
Okay.
second thing is timing and mechanics. Can you explain it? I think this is like a dead man switch kind of thing or a livelihood thing. Like
Mhm.
basically the will has some overall owner, and that owner needs to check in at some like periodically they need to check in, and if they
Mhm.
don't check in within some time, there must be some recovery thing that happens and someone triggers something. Can you just tell me a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, so since actions on the blockchain have to it's you have to trigger something for there to be like a reaction. We made it in such a way that you can set it to, all right, I want to check in every month, and then you come in every month and you're able to check in and update. And if you stop checking in, it unlocks automatically, right? And
Cool.
anybody who's been part of, like, who has any beneficiary in your will gets to go in there and take anything. Yeah. And another interesting thing that we did was to be able to keep track of the balance after the check-in expires. So you know how we do by percentages, and if somebody takes,
Sure.
say,
If you take
20%, we need to,
30% and there's, yeah,
exactly. So we need to be able to keep track of that. So what we did was at the withdrawal time, if the balance that you're trying to withdraw is less than the last withdrawal balance, we keep the particular percent. We use that current balance, that pre-existing balance, as the number. I think it would be better if I kind of dig into the code a little bit. We have on the withdrawal aspect. So we're checking for, where is it? Okay. So we have an old balance value, which is, we're checking our variable here for using the address of the token. And then we have a new balance, which is the current balance of the token from the token contract itself, right? And then we're doing something like, if the new balance is greater than or equal to the old balance, or the old balance is equal to 0, we set it to the new balance value. Else we keep the old balance, right? So if for some reason after you passed, you had 100 USDT, and you assign someone 20% and another person 30%. If the first person comes in and takes 20%, now you have 80 USDT. And then if the next person comes in the previous design, it would do 30% of 80. But what we did was we kept track of the original balance before the first person withdrew. And then if that balance, for some reason, after withdrawal, it drops down to 80 and it increases to, say, 85 or 90, we use that new balance to, so whoever gets to delay their withdrawal in the event that the balance increases, you get more out of it.
interesting. Yeah, I wonder, this is like every time you write smart contracts, you have to kind of like think of a kind of sometimes a special way to do something, and this is that same case where you keep track of your token balance and you keep track of percentages, but then that token balance changes, and what you really want it to be is the percent of the original token balance, not the changing token balance. So you're kind of keeping track of it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting. I feel like keeping track of the percent that's been pulled versus, I don't know. There's probably a handful of different ways to do it. Let's send it to those build guild builders to help us audit
awesome.
this and come up and see if they think it's good. Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. So kind of dead man switch, timing and mechanics makes sense. As long as there's a great UI and some notification system to bug me to come check back
Mhm.
in, I'll come check in every month. If I
Mhm.
die, then after the month, then anyone, I'm guessing, can trigger the release process. Is that right? Or just the withdrawals
It
become
automatically,
legal?
yeah, and the
Okay.
people, the beneficiaries can just come in and start withdrawing, really.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it would
Awesome.
be
Okay.
nice to kind of have like a cool down process as well, but that's
Yeah.
probably a little bit on that. Yeah.
The other thing is wallets. Sort of like I'd like to, pass on my crypto to my kids or something like that. And
Mhm.
but they don't have wallets yet or anything, right? It's almost like I have to
Yeah.
generate a wallet for them or something like that. And then it becomes
Mhm.
kind of the wallet is like in movement. It's an interesting
Yeah.
question, and I don't. We'll see how people in the future handle this too, but how they handle custodial versus non-custodial wallets and generating a
Mhm.
new one for someone who doesn't even exist yet and stuff like that. But I think
We,
I don't know.
it's
Let me just
interesting,
leave it open.
actually. Now that you talk about it, is we could use the commit reveal process, something similar to how ENS does it, right? We can commit like a pre-committed hash, or a pre-generated hash, and then the other person can have like the key that unlocks that, and then they can come in with an address and release that token and release the hash to themselves. So basically, every allocation that's in that hash goes to them, right?
You have to be careful with front running there, because if there's just some
That's
phrase
true.
that someone else could put on chain, like it will. I built a thing to
Yeah,
test that
that
on
part is
mainnet,
true.
and it
Yes.
happens. Yeah. But yeah, some system like that. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Awesome. Great stuff. Any closing thoughts as we share this video with Build Guild people? We want people to look at the contract, right? Maybe go play with it on localhost. Sounds like maybe you have some PRs headed to Scaffold ETH2. You
Yeah.
putting this out on a live domain soon?
Yes, it will be
Awesome.
live soon. And I
Great.
do want to shout out to these guys. I know I'm pretty much the person talking here, but like these guys have done an amazing job
That's
getting the
awesome.
UI. Leia has done the design to a T, and Moses and Mazi have done the implementation and making sure that things work right. That is a huge plus on this side because usually I would just build these things in like the smart contract and do like a little UI implementation. But I realized that I'm a little bit more empowered to do like the guidance approach and make sure that like these things get done right and they haven't disappointed. It's been amazing. So
That's
thanks, guys.
awesome. Yeah, making a product that people actually use requires a team usually. With just one of us coders in
Absolutely.
the dark, it ends up being kind of too nerdy. Yeah. What
Yeah.
was the avatar system you guys were using there? It looked like there was a stock avatar, and
Yeah,
then
that's so interesting. Leia has he's a designer from Nigeria, amazing designer. He has like an avatar system that he built.
cool.
So he used it in the design and Moses used it in the
Link me,
implementation. So it kind of stuck
yeah.
there.
Link me that avatar system too. It looks cool.
All right, awesome. I'll get you the link. Leia, if you don't
Awesome.
mind sending me the link to the avatar
Yeah,
system.
that'd be great.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome, guys. Thank you. We'll put up a video for this, and I'll share it with the Build Guild first, but when this thing goes live, we can share it again a little wider. But I think right now, let's just share it with a few folks and get it kind of spread within the Build Guild and then go from there.
Awesome. Sounds cool. And
Awesome.
okay, I guess after the
Oh no, go
recording,
ahead, go
right?
ahead, go ahead. I didn't, I was gonna hit stop, but go
I
ahead. I got
wanted
time.
I wanted to shill a little bit of like something else that we'll be working on, and maybe in 2 weeks we can see a video of it. But
Okay.
it's okay. We can it's a little teaser. We can just keep it in the backlog for now.
Okay. All right. It's coming from Bliss. Get ready.
Yes,
What's it
sir.
called? Give us the one-liner.
Sponsored by the Build Good. Build Good is called the Third Store.
Okay.
It's called the Third Store. Yes.
Cool.
I don't know what that would give. I don't know what that gives away, but it's something
I'm
cool
not
coming.
sure. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. All right. We'll see you
All
next
right.
time for that then. See you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.